That's why I rock with him.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
That's why I rock with JV, man.
JV.
Welcome in. It's JV, and you're back on the JV Show. Kickoff for NFL season is on Thursday. We got Cowboys, Eagles, which is super exciting. If you're not excited, you're not in the right place. Go ahead, like, subscribe, comment. Thank you so much for the support this past month. It has been incredible. And today we have our division winners, wild card winners, conference championship, Super Bowl predictions, all in one episode. We got to knock it down before the season starts. So I thought, why not bring Shawn back on the podcast, see how he's doing, see what he's liking for the season. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, and most importantly, New England is looking good. We have receivers. We got arguably the best quarterback in the league. I'm feeling good. I'm ready for this upcoming season.
Yeah, you've been a New England Patriots fan for your whole life, hey?
My whole life since 2007. So I'm gonna date myself a bit here. But that's when I was 7. Yes, it was also the year that they went 16-0. But it was like the first time that I really started locking in on football, and I was a huge Randy Moss fan, so it was just meant to be.
Yeah, best receiver of all time, Randy Moss.
The greatest receiver of all time, Randy.
The greatest.
Exactly.
The greatest. So would you consider
yourself
yourself
in San Francisco?
Would you consider yourself a bandwagon or nah?
Like, in theory, sure, but I was like a 7-year-old.
Because there's something wrong with you. Because you got the Lakers, you got the Patriots,
the Yankees, and the Penguins.
Like, these are all teams.
Here's my thing, though. This is like a quick explanation, okay? So, when I was like 6, 7, not
no pun intended.
No pun intended. But when I was around that age, that's when I started like loosely watching sports. And at the time, the Lakers were super, not necessarily good, but they were a big deal because of Kobe. Then you had the Patriots. They were in the middle of being a dynasty. Then you had the Penguins with Sidney Crosby. Then you had the Yankees with Derek Jeter. So it was like, I was like, at a young age, I was like, I'm going to be a fan of those teams. Now, as a 6-year-old, I was a bandwagon. The thing is, though, that I've stuck with all these teams through it all. So I've been a fan through the Jarrett Stidham era at quarterback, Mac Jones. Like, I've been a fan of Matt Patricia being our fucking offensive coordinator. Like I've been through it all. So, like, now that my teams are starting to look like they're back up, everyone wants to call me a bandwagon. No. I've been through it from the highs and the lows.
I mean,
and I'm also from Canada. I'm from Canada.
True.
I don't have any allegiance to any state.
There haven't been too many lows. And I don't even know what you know about hockey. So being a Pittsburgh fan is insane out of you.
We're
but
going
you know
through
what?
Some pretty lows right now.
But I agree. I agree. When you're a kid, you kind of just gravitate towards the team that's doing good and you stick with them. But I'm happy you've stuck with them.
See, but the one question that I have, because at 6-year-old, I was obviously smart. You became a Bills fan like pretty recent, so you were a little bit older. You should have like a better understanding when you're older than a 6-year-old. So why did you choose the Bills? Because that's a really bad choice.
It's not. You know, I love an underdog story. That's most important to me. You know, I love an underdog. I don't like cheering for the champs.
That's why I picked the Patriots.
And, you know, living in Canada, Bills being so close, go out and see a game hopefully one day. I just thought it'd be a good team to cheer for. You know, good fan base, solid people out there, energetic. I thought an underdog story was perfect. To describe myself, at least. You know, I'm not I'm personally, I'm a Winnipeg Jets fan, the team of our hometown.
Yeah.
But, you know, I recognize.
Well, they suck. So
over in Saskatchewan, there's no hockey team out there, and you're repping the Riders today.
Yeah, so I literally don't owe anyone anything. So for everyone that is attacking me saying, oh, how is he a Patriots fan? He's also wearing like a Yankees hat. Yes, I will do that, and I will continue to do that because those are my teams.
Fair enough.
And I'll also wear a St. Louis Cardinals hat because I just like the hats. So
fair enough.
Sue me.
I love it. You know, I love the energy. Like I said, we got our division winners, our wild card teams today in store for this episode. We're starting off with the NFC. We got 7 total teams. We're going to go 4 division winners, then we'll talk about wildcard teams. Kicking us off in the NFC East, Deshaun. I'm going to give the people a little recap here. Last year, Philly won the division, 14-3. Then the Commanders at 12-5. Dallas at 7-10. The Giants at 3-14. Who do you have winning this division this year?
Yeah, I think it's probably a no-brainer. It's going to be the Eagles again. Now, I have family that resides in Philadelphia, so that's where a majority of my dad's side of like the family is. So when I was 16, I got the opportunity like to go watch, well, not watch like a game out there, but I got to like watch Philadelphia play like at like one of like my uncle's houses, and one of the most intense environments, one of the most loud, ignorant, and I hated it. I hate every Philly fan, and I hate that I'm saying that they are going to win, but they just have such a loaded roster, offense, defense, special teams, and then you compound that with the fact that everyone else in their division seems to be not wanting like to win. You got Dallas letting up Micah go. You got Washington basically like fighting their wide receiver one, though they did finally go and pay him. And then like the Giants are just maybe 1 or 2 moves away from really being a powerhouse. So I think it's Philadelphia, and I don't really think there's much debate there.
Yeah, unfortunately, they are the best team in the league, and no matter how rowdy their fans can get, I thought they were bearable, honestly, when they weren't winning. But the second that they did start winning, it started getting real bad.
It's cranked up.
You know, I like Jalen Hurts. He's a guy that I like to root for, and I feel like you would root for him too, Deshaun, but I feel like the fan base, they just project him in this insane way, and that's what makes people turn on these Philly players. The fan base, I give credit to them. They're incredible and passionate, but I think there's a fine line between passion and insanity, and sometimes that bleeds through in Philly.
And I think what's so interesting is that all of the key players on the Eagles it could not be further from what you would think of a Philadelphia Eagle. All of them are so reserved and humble and quiet. Like Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. Like I love all of those guys individually as players, but I have to hate them. Like I have become a Jalen Hurts hater because of the fans.
You know what? And I don't even blame you. I still try to give him his praise when I can, but it gets out of control, right? But at the end of the day, Philly is the best team in the league by far. Absolutely. I don't even think, like, you watch what they did to Kansas City last year in the Super Bowl, one of the most dominant Super Bowl performances we've seen. Philly is the team to beat this year until proven otherwise. Now, they do have a few question marks around that team. Second-string cornerback, whoever they got there, that's going to be an issue. They got to figure that out, whether it's going to be Keely Ringo. They're rotating a few guys there. And they got a new offensive coordinator in-house, Kevin Patullo. Again, I think Jalen Hurts is 5th offensive coordinator, which is insane to think about, but that just shows you the success that Philly has had. And I feel like the OCs there, they get rotated in because the teams are so good. Maybe they're projected as a little bit better than they actually are, or they're great offensive minds. I don't know. Like Kellen Moore got a head coaching job in New Orleans now.
Anytime you can hand the ball, like if as an offensive coordinator you have one of 2 options, you either hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley or throw the ball to A.J. Brown, you're probably going to have a successful offense.
I'm saying, it's hard. It's really hard to screw that up. So you look at Philly now, they got the most talented offense in the league. The offensive line is the best unit in the NFL, and the defense is still up there as a top 5 unit. So anyone saying that there's no chance of a back-to-back or of a repeat, I just don't believe you. I think that they're standout the best team in the league, and after week 4 or 5 last year, I want to say, they were unbelievable. Like, if they played like that from week 1, there's a legit chance Philly could have gone 17-0 just because of the firepower that they have. And Jalen Hurts has a bad day, no problem. You just turn it over to Saquon Barkley, right? Or vice versa with the passing game.
Exactly.
You know, I was talking to some people too, and it's like, you choose your poison with Philly. You either load the box, stop Saquon Barkley, which opens up passing lanes for Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, all the ballers they got there, or you flood back the secondary, and then the box is light for Saquon Barkley, and he's going for 150 on your team, right? So really the best offense in football right now. Philly is the team to beat. Anyone out of the NFC East you have going into a wild card seed come January, Deshaun?
I do, and it's, again, hard for me to say because I hate this franchise, but I have the Giants. I really feel like the Giants, and we've said this before off camera, but I really feel like the Giants are like the Steelers of the NFC. They're always, and maybe not in the most recent years, but they always have like a respectable defense, and then it's been like lately they just been kind of like off and on at quarterback and off and on offense. But I like what they have on offense this year. You have a solid ground game. You have what I believe to be at least a top 17 quarterback. If he plays well, I could realistically see him being like within that like 12 to 15 range in Russell Wilson. And then you have Malik Neighbors. I genuinely believe that Malik Neighbors, if healthy, if he can finish this season healthy, he will be a top 5 receiver. I think that he is a bona fide stud. And I like their defense. And their defense is the main reason why I have them sneaking in, is because that front seven, talk about pick your poison. All of those guys are elite pass rushers. I am still dumbfounded how they were able to get all of them on like the same team. But I really like what they have done on like the defensive side of the ball, and I think their offense will be just good enough to make it work. And I don't think they'll do anything in the playoffs, but I think the recent stretch that the Giants have had, I think making the playoffs will be a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with your takes on the team. Like, I'm really high on the Giants, too. Like you said, that front seven, Sexy Dexy, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, like, they're stacked, and they're going to get to the quarterback, no question. Now, the offense, of course, you don't know what Russell Wilson's going to be. You kind of have an idea based off what we saw last year in Pittsburgh. I mean, obviously, he's not going to be the Russell Wilson of old, but he could still be productive. And Jackson Dart had a really good showing in the preseason, so that's obviously encouraging. And like I said prior on the podcast, I agree with you about Malik Neighbors, too. Absolute dog, super, super overlooked when you're talking about the top receivers in the league. However, I don't have the Giants in the playoffs. I'm shocked that you don't have the Commanders in the playoffs, Deshaun. I'm going to need to hear your take, just basically why you're missing out on this team. I understand, Jaden Daniels did have quite the rookie season, and if you expect a sophomore slump, that's fine. Maybe a drop-off for year 2, just like C.J. Stroud had. But honestly, I just don't see it happening. The Commanders were a great team last year. Now, the defense, it's hard to look at it and be excited about it for sure. They're probably a bottom 15, bottom 18 defense in the league. It's not incredible, but I think it will do enough to get them in the playoffs, at least. I mean, Jaden Daniels last year, 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, 69% completion percentage. You get a year 2 Jaden Daniels now with Terry McLaurin on his new contract. You bring in Debo, who, he wasn't all that in San Francisco, and I don't expect it to be incredible in Washington, but at least it's something. When they bring in Laramie Tunsil, they're helping out with the offensive line. I mean, I don't think they're close to Philly. Like, the Commanders are far from what Philly is right now. The defense, it's brutal against the run. Saquon Barkley averaged 138 yards per game in 3 games against the Commanders last year. They're just not winning a Super Bowl with that. It was a really lucky jump to the conference championship last year. I'll give you that, Deshaun, if you're going to make that argument, which I'm sure you will bring that up. But I still do think that they're talented enough to go 10-7 and sneak in the playoffs.
See, I feel like every year, and this will lead into what we talk about when we talk about like the AFC, but I think every year there is a team that is able to catch lightning in like a bottle, and they're able to just have everything line up perfectly. And that's what happened with Washington. They were able to win a lot of close games that maybe one play goes the other way, they lose that game. And they were able to win a lot of close games, and they were able to go and dismantle Detroit for a lot of the season, a lot of people had Super Bowl expectations for. I just don't think that's sustainable. I also don't think it's sustainable to expect your now your second year quarterback to duplicate, or if not, succeed what he did his rookie year. I do like Terry McLaurin, but I'm not sold on Debo. He does have a chip on his shoulder, no pun intended, but I really don't think that they have enough firepower to overcome what that defense is doing, because that defense is horrible. And what essentially you are trying to do is say, Jaden Daniels, you need to propel this team to the playoffs on offense alone. And we've seen far more talented offenses, a la the Bengals, not be able to do that. So now it's a lot harder when now you are now placing that onus on a second-year quarterback and a receiver one that's not Jamar Chase, and a receiver two that's not T. Higgins. So I just do not believe that they're going to be able to catch lightning in a bottle for 2 years in a row.
That's fine. I'm sure we'll have bigger things that we disagree on. If the Giants made the playoffs and the Commanders fell out, I wouldn't be shocked. Again, the defense is brutal in Washington, like I said, and you are resting a lot of it on Jaden Daniels and his success this year. So we'll have to see how that works out. But we have differing opinions on Jaden Daniels as well when we're talking about sophomore quarterbacks, which we can get in on at a later date, of course. But we got the NFC West up next. Last year, the Rams won it at 10-7. Seahawks right behind them at 10-7. Cardinals at 8-9. Niners at 6-11. Who do you have winning the NFC West, Deshaun?
This is again such an interesting division, because I feel like on paper a lot of these teams should be better than what they showed last year. Now, obviously, San Francisco had a lot of injuries. Arizona, there's just something weird going on with their quarterback situation. Some weeks he looks like an all-pro. Some weeks he looks like he should be playing Division III football. Seattle,
with his size.
Yes. Seattle is, again, just that weird team where they're good enough to be average but not bad enough to be horrible. So I think with that being said, and then also the addition of Davante Adams, I think the Rams are a clear cut. I think they have a good enough defense, and they have just such a high-powered offense. Like, you got Davante Adams, you got Matthew Stafford, Puka, and Kyron Williams. Like, you just have so much going on that offense in a division that does not really have an answer for it. I wouldn't be surprised if they win 12-plus games. But I do expect a bounce back from San Francisco this year.
I agree. We're going to agree in the NFC West here. The Rams are a Super Bowl contender. I don't see how that changes unless Matthew Stafford is out for an extended period of time and they lose a bunch of games. Obviously, this is dependent on the health of Matthew Stafford, but that's the case for a lot of NFL teams in the NFL, maybe besides like Philly, I would say. Like, your quarterback's not healthy. You're not winning games in most case scenarios. Absolutely. That being said, Matthew Stafford's late 30s. We don't know what he's going to be with all these injuries, but I have full faith in him. They gave Philly their biggest test in their Super Bowl run last year by far. You can argue it was in the snow and the conditions played a factor. At the end of the day, it is what it is. They played Philly's best game whenever it was on a Saturday or Sunday night, and they almost beat them with like 20 seconds left on the clock. Defensively, their front seven is excellent. They had 2 of the top 3 finishers in Defensive Rookie of the Year race last year. The Defensive Rookie of the Year in Jared Verse. Again, lots of pressure on the quarterback, which is excellent. Secondary is concerning. They got to step it up. It's going to be a problem again this year. If they can stay strong and if Stafford is healthy, this team is winning 12 or 13 games. They're going all the way, maybe to the conference championship, meeting Philly there and having that rematch. And then offensively, like you said to Shawn, O-line's okay, middle of the pack, average. They're going to need to protect Stafford if he's got injury issues, but you got Devontae Adams, you got Puka, you got Kyron Williams. What is there not to like here, right? So I think that they win this division, but I do think that the Niners, considering their schedule, they're right behind. I have them at 10-7, making the playoffs, Deshaun. I know you didn't make it very clear yet if they are in your playoff picture or not, but for me, it's more likely the Niners make the playoffs than if they don't. Their schedule is a piece of cake. Top 3 easiest in the NFL. Offense is really young. They're bringing Brock Purdy back on the massive extension. Ricky Pearsall is going to need to step up with Ayuk out and Juwan Jennings on IR, I believe, to start the season. But if CMC is healthy, this team is transformed. This offense is transformed into below average or average to potentially above average. CMC really does that, and if he can be his old self, I mean, we're talking about a Saquon Barkley-esque injection into this offense. And then defensively, like, they lost some veterans on defense, but again, they've been injured. Nothing new. They got Nick Bosa. They draft Michael Williams. They're putting pressure on the quarterback. Let's see how the secondary does, but I think the Niners make the playoffs with their schedule.
The only issue that I have with the Niners is they are now in a back against the wall type of situation, and when you're in that situation, you have to rely on your stars to be stars. And at this point in Christian McCaffrey's career, I don't know if he can handle that workload. And I'm not saying that he can't handle that workload in terms of skill or talent. It's just I don't know if his body will physically hold up.
That's a fair point.
For the Niners to have success, it's going to need to be through Christian McCaffrey, especially on like the offensive side of the ball. You're not getting Ayuk back to week 6 or 7, and then once he's back, you don't even know what like you're getting. So really, for like that first half of the season, like you're really banking on Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall to like really be able to hold it down on the outside, and then hopefully George Kittle's also able to have another All-Pro year. But that's a lot of expectations to place on guys that are either not used to that much responsibility, or B, in a situation where maybe they're physically not able to handle that workload anymore. But if health is not a factor, I wouldn't be surprised if they do make the playoffs, but I do not have the Niners sneaking in this year.
Okay, interesting. Do you have a wildcard team coming out of the NFC West?
Out of the NFC West, I do not.
Okay. See, so the only thing favoring the Niners, in my opinion, is their schedule. I do think that their team's all right, but they're going through this mini rebuild, and I know they got Brock Purdy, but they're still trying to find their identity again. They drafted pretty well this year, focused defensively. The only way they sneak in is if they win the easy games on their schedule, and they take advantage of the layups that they're given. Like you said, too, I failed to mention it, but Kittle could be the number 1 receiver for this offense. Not a problem. We've seen it with Gronk in the past. We've seen it with Kelsey. He can manage the workload. Yeah, exactly. He's going to have to be, because I don't think Ricky's going to slide into that number 1 role, at least to start the season. So if Kittle's healthy, CMC's healthy, we're potentially looking at a 9 or 10 win team in San Francisco with that schedule. But again, really dependent on the health, and they've been like the most injured team in the league multiple times in the past 5 seasons, which is insane to think about. So something's going on over in San Francisco, but obviously dependent on the health. NFC North, Deshaun, what most describe as the most competitive division in the NFL. Last year, Detroit won it at 15-2, Minnesota right behind them at 14-3, Packers at 11-6, and the Bears at 5-12. Who do you have winning this division, and are there any wild card spots you got?
Yes and yes. So I have the Chicago Bears winning this division. I love the Chicago Bears. I love the Chicago Bears. More importantly, I love Caleb Williams. I'm a Caleb Williams fan. I think
Caleb
he's
and Lamar.
Amazing.
You love him. You love him. There's something about him. They hit a soft spot for you.
They really do. I think that they are so talented on the offensive side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball is taking steps in the right direction. I am super excited to see what Caleb Williams is able to do in a Ben Johnson-led offense, because I think that's been something that's been holding a lot of young quarterbacks back, is the play calling. So now you have one of the league's premier play callers as your head coach. I'm excited because we've seen what he was able to do with Jared Goff, and I don't think I'll get any arguments here, but Caleb Williams is far more talented. I'm not saying a better player yet, but he's far more talented than Jared Goff. And I like DJ Moore. I like Luther Burden, Rome. Like, they have playmakers. I'm not a fan of DeAndre Swift the most, but he's serviceable. He's a serviceable running back.
For this argument, he's serviceable.
Yes, he's serviceable. I love what they have going. And I don't know if this division will be as good as people are hyping up to be. I understand that it's been a good division. In my wild card spot, I have the Detroit Lions, and I am giving this off of the strength that 99% of their defense was hurt last year, and not even just hurt, they were on IR, and there was a point last year where they were having guys on practice squad just line up and play. It was very emergency, last resort. So I think having some of those guys back, like a Hutchinson, I think that will be a boost that they will need. But because they are losing such a creative play caller in Ben Johnson, I'm going to assume there's going to be a step back on the explosiveness of that offense. And I think there will be a few growing pains with having the expectations of being in a Super Bowl, losing a home playoff game, and then essentially having to start over again with a brand new offense. But I think that team is just far too talented to at least not make the playoffs.
So I agree with you about the Lions, and I'll get into that because they are a wild card team. But I am shocked that you have the Bears winning the division. Now, listen, I find it hard to rank this division because I'm rooting for Chicago. If they made the playoffs, I wouldn't be against it. I don't have them in the picture, but they could edge out somebody like the Niners.
Yes.
Absolutely.
They are a better team than the Niners.
Yes, I agree. And the thing with the Niners is their schedule. That's the only thing that I'm sold on. The Bears, I think, are structured better, and I believe in Ben Johnson. The Minnesota Vikings are winning the NFC North, Shawn. Yes, they are. And here's the thing.
That is a terrible pick.
Thing.
Go on.
The only issue I ever hear with Minnesota is JJ. Oh, I'm concerned about JJ. I don't know what JJ is going to look like. And I will give you the fact that their secondary, sure, it might be a little concerning. They got a lot of new faces over there. They had 24 interceptions last year. Real good. 33 turnovers as a defense. But JJ, Deshaun, believe in JJ McCarthy for me. Because everyone that's saying they don't believe in JJ said the same thing about Sam Darnold. And he walked in and won 14 games for this offense with Justin Jefferson, with Jordan Addison, with Jalen Naylor, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones.
Darnold.
Now they have Jordan Mason. JJ McCarthy was the starter before Sam Darnold, and you don't believe in Kevin O'Connell to set up the offense so JJ has just an average season and takes them to a 12-win season and makes the playoffs?
First of all,
I'm not buying it.
I'm not buying it. Okay, actually, no. First and foremost, okay? I understand.
Why don't you believe in JJ? What's the missing factor here?
I understand that Jackson is our quarterback, but you do not have to pick the Vikings, okay? You do not have to do this. The reason why I do not have JJ, I do not have any faith in him, is because for the entirety of his college career, he took the ball under center and then handed the ball off. Okay? So why am I supposed to believe that he's going to be the guy to go and lead this offense to success? Now, you bring up Sam Darnold, okay? Sam Darnold was a great quarterback prospect. As just a quarterback, just being able to go and lead a team, okay? He didn't obviously win as much as JJ, but he was a better prospect coming out of college. The Jets ruined him. But he had experience in multiple NFL offenses. So he had experience in New York, in Carolina, and then obviously with the Vikings.
And San Francisco.
And San Francisco. He's not just going to be expected to go and do this in his second year, because I don't know if Sam Darnold will be able to do that in his second year. But this is JJ's first year, and not only is it his first year, it's his first year off of injury. So any type of hesitation that he would have as a rookie, he's about to have that tenfold off of an injury. And now there's also this expectation that he's supposed to win the division. And then compounding that, you have Justin Jefferson having a lingering hamstring issue. So now what happens if Justin Jefferson is out a week or two? But
completely legit. That's legit.
But this is my legitimate issue with the Vikings that so many people are just overlooking. The issue with having a dominant wide receiver one with a rookie is that they're within the rookie, they're going to feel that they need to feed him, because Justin Jefferson is going to say, throw me the ball. JJ might have to have a read where it's not at Justin Jefferson, and then now they're going off on the sidelines and JJ is getting reamed out. So now, the next time that they're out there on offense, he's forcing him the ball. What happens? Pick six. I'm telling you, this is going to be a recipe for disaster, and we're going to look back at this when the playoffs start, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win under 6 games.
That is unreal. That is unreal. I was saving to call you pathetic until we got to the Pats-Bills division, but this is unreal, Deshaun. He's an incredible intermediate passer. The only flaws I saw in his game was the deep ball. And I think that Kevin O'Connell can coach that up. He outright won the job against Sam Darnold last year, and he's walking into a phenomenal situation. Now, I agree.
He won the job from
first few weeks.
From a career backup. He won the job from a career backup.
But look what the career backup did. 14 wins. And I agree. JJ, Jordan Addison, the season might start slow. And that's where you will have all your pride. You'll come on the podcast. You'll celebrate. That's fine. I'll buy you a little hat from Party Stuff. It'll be phenomenal. But to end the season, Brian Flores will do wonders for JJ on defense. He'll help him out. Defense looks great. They're putting pressure on the quarterback. If the secondary steps up, JJ McCarthy has a great season. You got to believe. Detroit Lions, I agree with you. Detroit is on the downfall. But I'm not buying that they don't make the playoffs.
They're too talented not to.
Yes, I think they're way too talented. The offense, Jared Goff, Laporta, Gibbs, Montgomery, St. Brown, J-Mo. The list goes on and on. Isaac Tesla, who's a dog. We saw him in the preseason ball out. Defense. Last year, the Lions were Super Bowl favorites until they had so many injuries. I truly believe they would have gone toe-to-toe with Philly in the conference championship game had they had everyone healthy for the entire season. Long story short, it's over. Aaron Glenn's gone now. Ben Johnson's gone now. New coordinators. Might be a new story there. Obviously, some new faces. Different setting, but I still think they're too talented to miss the playoffs. The Bears, like I said, I believe in them. I believe in Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. The thing I caution, not you, obviously, Deshaun, but just the public, is if they do go 8-9 this year and they miss the playoffs, which is possible for sure, we cannot look at Caleb and say that it's over, that this was a 2-year stint and we need to give up on him because he's failed. That's what the expectation is. I understand.
We don't even have to entertain this, Johnny. I'm telling you, we do not have to entertain this because I promise you, and I get what you're saying, you don't want people to go and jump the gun on Caleb Williams, which they will, but I'm telling you it will not happen. But I have a question for you. Why do you have so much faith in JJ and that offense, that team, and not Caleb Williams and the Bears?
I do have elite faith in the Bears. I'm saying I think that they could.
No, you have one team winning the division, and then you have the other team not making the playoffs. So So clearly there's a difference.
Absolutely. So the Bears I have right now at 8-9, and the Vikings I have at 12-5. So it's a 3-win difference. I do think Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams will go through a few growing pains to start the season. And I don't think that the weapons in Chicago are equivalent to the weapons in Minnesota. And I do think Minnesota's offensive line is better than Chicago's, and the defenses are pretty comparable. Well, obviously, it could be close. We can't write it off. I'm not writing it off as...
I cannot wait until we come back.
I'm not writing it off as I don't have faith in the Bears. They could win 10 games and make the playoffs. I just think it's a really competitive division, and it's going to be hard to make it through. The one team we haven't talked about is the Packers, Shawn. I'm not really buying the hype. I like Micah. I like the offense. I like Jordan Love. There's a lot of stuff that I like. It's just I don't automatically think Micah makes the Packers contenders. Like, I don't think Micah makes Green Bay a Super Bowl team. I just don't. He's one piece to a defense, and obviously he's important, but you still need the offense to produce. You still need Jordan Love to take care of the ball, to not have big-time turnovers when it matters. And I just don't understand why people are jumping to a conclusion that they're automatically a Super Bowl contender now. They still have secondary issues. They still don't have a proven number one receiver, too. I know they drafted Golden, but, again, we need to see it with our own eyes first.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think fans here, we got Micah Parsons, now we have a good defense. That's not how it works, because it's just, again, like you said, it's just one player, and I'm not going to feed into the narrative fully, but there is a growing theme of Micah Parsons not playing big in big games. And so I think for Green Bay to have success, Micah is going to need to show up in games against like the Lions, against like the Vikings, against Chicago. He's going to need to show up, and not just show up in the first quarter. He's going to need to show up in a pivotal moments in that game. But as much is going to be placed on Micah Parsons, it's all, at the end of the day, it's all going to come down to Jordan Love and that offense. And I'm not a fan of Jordan Love. I think he's average, above average. I think he's okay. And the fact that they still don't have like that true wide receiver one, though I do believe it will be Matthew Golden, I just think there's just too much left unanswered for me to believe in them to be a playoff team.
And they just didn't fare well last year against playoff teams. They beat the Texans, and the Rams, when they beat them, they were banged up, and they lost all their games. I think they went 1-5 or like 0-6 in the division last year. Again, I just don't think that they're a team that goes out there and consistently wins big-time games. That's why I have them out of the playoffs. But again, any team in this division could crack the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised. Finishing off the NFC with the NFC South, Shawn. Last year, Tampa Bay Bucks at 10-7, Atlanta at 8-9, Panthers at 5-12, the Saints at 5-12. Who do you have winning this division, and do you have a wild card?
So, again, yes and yes. I have, and I think that these two teams could be interchangeable. Okay, I think, and I don't think this will be a good division necessarily, but I think this might be the most evenly matched division of all of them, because I think they're all so close to each other with the exception of the Saints. So for the team that I do have making it, it's Tampa Bay. So I have them winning the division. And I'm just giving that off the strength of the season that they had last year and who they have. I'm going to ride with Baker Mayfield being the best quarterback in that division right now. And then you got a guy like Mike Evans. They drafted a young stud receiver. And I like what they have in terms of their defense as well. And I think the fact that they get to play like the Saints 2 times a year, that will help them a lot. But the team that I'm super excited about, and everyone thinks that I'm a hater of this team, but I genuinely love this quarterback, is Carolina. I think they're going to make the wild card. I love Bryce Young, and when it was their rookie year and there was a debate of C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, I've been telling people, and I've been adamant on this point, that it's Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud. It's just the fact that one went to Houston and one went to Carolina, but Bryce Young is is quieting the naysayers, and he is slowly climbing out of the pits of hell in terms of bad play. And he's playing. He finished the last half of the season playing elite football, and I expect with the addition of Tet that offense will be even more explosive. So I think that Carolina, especially with their defense as well, they will be able to make some noise in the playoffs. And I wouldn't be surprised if they not only make a wild card game, but win a wild card game.
Wow. You know what? I like the Panthers a lot, Deshaun. I don't have them in my playoff picture. I really thought you were going between the Bucs and the Falcons. I think that's where you were trying to lead me, and then you did a little bit of a step back. I like the Panthers a lot. Listen, I think the Panthers, a successful season this year is like, I think they'll go 7-10, and that's a successful year for them. Their defense is trash, like absolutely horrendous, and I just don't think that they can win enough games with that defense, despite Bryce Young taking a step forward, to make things happen. But I agree with you. There were points last year Bryce Young was clearly outplaying C.J. Stroud, and I do think it was a landing spot issue in Carolina versus Houston. Yes. Now, with that being said, I believe in C.J. Stroud. I do think that he's among the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. Very talented, and he performs big in big-time moments. It's not a Jalen Hurts thing where he has an incredible team around him. He actually shows up and balls out in the playoffs. But with that being said, he did have the sophomore slump last year, and Bryce Young, for the back half of the year, really picked things up. Now they got Tet. I like it. As for my division winner, the Tampa Bay Bucs are my dark horse team this season. I think they have a shot at the Super Bowl, Deshaun. Wow. I don't know if that's crazy to say, but I will.
Might be crazy to say.
It might be. It might be. But when you look at the team, I have them going 11-6 this year, so nothing crazy. I think they win the division. Defense was solid against the run last year, struggled against the pass. Antoine Winfield is back for a full season, hopefully. And you add Hassan Reddick on a prove-it deal. If he can get to the passer, that will help out the coverage game. And then you also draft Ben Morrison and Jacob Parrish, one of them hopefully stepping in to a cornerback role as a starter from the draft. Offensively, Baker's a dog. One of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. Baker's my dark horse MVP candidate. I think that he has a shot with the stats, and if this team wins 11 or 12 games, he could be in the discussion. I don't think he'll necessarily win it, but he'll be up there. Last year, 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 71.4 completion percentage is really, really, really good. And they're wide receiver university, right? Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, aging like fine wine, and then Emeka Ibuka, obviously, who's the next up. Running backs, got Rashad White, Bucky Irving, elite offensive line. I love it in Tampa Bay. I'm surprised you didn't think too highly on the Falcons. I don't know if you have any comments on that, Deshaun, before we flip to the AFC.
I like the Falcons. I'm just not a fan of Michael Penix. I just don't think that he's going to be the guy that they think that he's going to be, and I am done putting faith into Kyle Pitts. I'm done. I've wasted too many years, too many draft selections. Good riddance. I'm done. I do like Drake London and Bijan, though. And the defense is okay. They really invested in edge rushers in the draft. So we'll see if those pay off. But I just think of of the three competitive teams in this division, I think they have the worst quarterback. And I think we've seen it. This is a QB driven league. And I don't know if he will be able to have I don't think that he has enough to be able to lead them to success.
Fair, yeah. I have them neck and neck with the Bucs in that division, but I do have the Bucs prevailing, and they are my only team, obviously, coming out of that division. So we'll recap at the end with our top 7 teams in the NFC. As far as the AFC goes, we're going to skip the AFC East because they got the Bills and the Patriots, and we know we got to save that for last. So we're going to hop right into the AFC West. Deshaun, last year, Chiefs dominated 15-2. Then next up was the Chargers at 11-6. Broncos at 10-7, both made the playoffs, and then the Raiders at 4-13. Your division winner and any wild cards.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, sir.
There is this growing disrespect, and it's something that we've spoke about this a lot off camera. It's something that people will not be able to appreciate and respect until Patrick Mahomes is retired, which sucks because that means we won't be able to respect this honestly maybe for another 15 years. What Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have done for the last 5 years is
Last
unworthy.
7 or 8.
Yes, like it is absurd. It is absurd. Yes, actually, it's been 7 to 8 years. It's actually just went by so fast, and they've achieved so much. I've been hearing debates if Patrick Mahomes is even a top 3 quarterback anymore. If like the Chiefs run is over, this is abysmal.
It's crazy.
Patrick Mahomes, first of all, and this stabs me in the heart to say this, but Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the world. And he will be the best quarterback in the world until he decides to stop playing football. He is the greatest. And as long as he is playing, the Chiefs will always have a chance and the Chiefs will always win this division. So I love what they are doing on a defense. I believe Travis Kelce, after the year that he had last year, will have something to prove. I think he will be completely energized. He will be ready to go. I wouldn't be surprised if he's an all-pro this year. Rashid Rice.
Fresh off that engagement.
Rashid Rice, he's probably going to be suspended for like 6 weeks. But the fact that he is coming off of a injury and a gruesome injury at that, honestly, I'm fine with that just because now they don't have to rush him at all. Go and take your time. Make sure that you are 100% because like you still got guys like Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown. I really expect the Chiefs, and it sounds weird, but the Chiefs are going to be playing like they have a chip on their shoulder because of the amount of disrespect that sports media has given them the last 5 months.
I couldn't agree more. Before, I don't know if you have a wild card team, but I just want to hop in here and talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs are winning the AFC West. No debate. The Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. I won't hear anything else. With Mahomes and Reed, you cannot go wrong. You got a defense run by one of the best defensive coordinators in the league in Steven Spagnuolo. They were, I'm looking at the stats here. 4th in total points against last year, 9th in total yards against. Defense is a great unit. If you want flashy offensive production, you need a Rashid Rice or a Hollywood Brown or an Xavier Worthy for a full season. Last year, you were missing Rashid Rice. You're missing Hollywood Brown. And Xavier Worthy really only broke out to the back half of the season. So what are you expecting out of Mahomes? I know he's the greatest right now, but even him, you need to give him something. Travis Kelce nearing the end of his career, like he needs something. People wonder where the deep ball went. Where did the receivers go? Like, They're trying out Isaiah Pacheco at receiver in training camp. It's gotten to a pretty crazy extent. But I do think the Chiefs are the team to beat in the AFC. And like you said, Deshaun, everybody hates Mahomes. Everybody hates Mahomes like they hated Brady. And now people respect Brady. And I do as well. And I hated Brady when I was younger as well, naturally, like every kid except if you were a Patriots fan would have. But now everybody respects Brady. Granted, he deserves it. Balled out in his career, 7 Super Bowls, whatever. We're past that. Now we hate Mahomes. But do you remember, 6 years ago when they were the underdogs against Brady and everyone was cheering for Mahomes like he was their savior?
See, because here's the issue is that everyone loves Brady now. And the issue with how they love him now and how they've romanticized the Patriots dynasty is that they are rewriting history. Because when the Patriots were winning, when Tom Brady was playing, they hated him. They hated the Patriots. They called us cheaters. Yeah, they called us cheaters. They said that the refs were on our side. They said that the league was rigged, and now this is all starting to sound super familiar. It's the same thing that is happening with the Chiefs. And sports fans are so ignorant to understand that they are doing the same thing. And they will not understand it until Patrick Mahomes is on his retirement tour. And then there's a new toy. And then they're going to start hating that guy. And then it's this rinse and repeat cycle. But I wish that we could just get to a point as football fans to just enjoy greatness. Because 15 is one of the greatest of all time.
You know what? And that happened when Brady went to Tampa. People kind of just started enjoying it out of nowhere. But, like, have you seen the videos when Brady's, like, demonstrating the tuck rule or they're talking about the Deflategate?
Yes.
Everyone's just chuckling about it. Like, it's just some grand old joke.
It's
and, like,
funny. Yeah.
we hated the Patriots. If you weren't a Patriots fan, you hated Brady and Bill Belichick.
Yes.
Like, they were top one, cheaters, Deflategate, tuck rule, you name it. And don't get me wrong. The Chiefs have been bailed out by some obscure calls. Like, I'm not going to deny it, but
we
have
the Patriots.
Exactly. So, listen, all I'm going to say, put the icing on the cake, Chiefs are the best team in their division. I think they're the top of the AFC until proven otherwise. Did you have a wild card team out of the AFC West?
Out of the AFC West, I did not.
Okay, I do. I am shocked. I am really high on the Denver Broncos this year. I think, again, year one breakthrough, year two Super Bowl run. I'm super, super high on the Denver Broncos, Deshaun.
Wait,
top five defense in football.
Run.
Super Bowl run.
Here's the thing, okay? So we got a rookie quarterback who makes the playoffs his rookie season, okay? He beats a bunch of bottom-feeding teams, loses to almost all of the playoff teams that he plays, makes the playoffs, round one gets blown out by 3 touchdowns by the Bills. You think I'm talking about Bo Nix. I was actually talking about Mac Jones. So let's pump the brakes on the Broncos being legit. Okay, I get it. He had a great rookie year. Mac Jones had a great rookie year. Mac Jones was a Pro Bowler, okay? And New England still had a great defense at that point. I want to say that we were probably still top 10. So I just want to pump the brakes a little bit because, again, they really do not still have a true wide receiver one. Yes, I get they have Cortland Sutton, but to make the Super Bowl, I need to see a little bit more from Bo Nix, but also I need to see some more from this offense, okay? I need to see this offense be explosive, be what they are against bad teams, against good teams. So as far as making the playoffs, that's a stretch. As far as making the Super Bowl, now you're just doing full-fledged hot yoga. This is ridiculous, Johnny.
No, not even close, man. I mean, I don't have them making the Super Bowl, but I do think that they are a contender, Deshaun. And I agree with you. I somewhat agree with you.
Who's the
offense?
back?
RJ Harvey. They drafted him, and they got J.K. Dobbins as well.
I'm not hearing about RJ Harvey, dude.
You cannot talk to me about DeAndre Swift as a serviceable back and then bash RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins. I'm not hearing the discussion.
Because
but anyways.
DeAndre Swift has Caleb Williams, okay? RJ Harvey has Bo Nix. End of discussion.
What does the quarterback have to do with his rushing production?
It changes everything. It changes everything how you're able to
go. For sure. Like, your passing game, they play off one another for sure.
If I am calling plays against the Denver Broncos, I don't care about Bo Nix's arm. I do not care about
Man, that is
Bo
a crazy
Nix.
take, though.
I don't care about Bo Nix. I don't care about Bo Nix.
Oh, my goodness. You didn't watch enough Bo Nix last year.
I did.
When the season was nearing the end.
I don't like spending my Sunday afternoons watching a rookie beat up on bad teams. I don't. I'm sorry. Maybe you do, though. It's all good.
Top 5 defense in football. Reigning defensive player of the year. Sure. Linebacker group, arguably the best in football. Secondary is excellent. They added to it in the draft with Jahdae Barron, PS2, Riley Moss. Excellent. Front 7, fantastic. For sure. I agree with you. They beat up on some bad teams last year. They need to take a step forward. But I think the way the defense is structured, they're good enough to help out the offense. And Bo Nix, with a year 2 breakthrough, he's going to take another step forward. Sutton is serviceable. He's a lower-end wide receiver 1 for sure, but he's something. If they have another receiver step up, I think the run game is going to take a step up this year with J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. The offensive line is great, and I love Sean Payton. I think he's a great head coach. So I do believe in the Denver Broncos. I wouldn't be surprised if they cracked a divisional game, maybe even a conference championship.
You're on
but sure.
drugs, Johnny. You're on
sure.
drugs.
Sure.
Let's get to the next division. Division.
Rest of the division, I think the Chargers are falling out. Offensive line, I have concerns. And the Raiders, I just don't think they have it this year. I don't think they have the firepower on defense. AFC North, Deshaun. Ravens 12-5. Steelers 10-7 last year. Bengals 9-8. Browns 4-13. At this rate, you got the Browns winning the division. Who do you got?
Two-time MVP. Lamar Action Jackson is going to lead the Baltimore Ravens to not only win this division, to not only the number one seed in the AFC, but this will be not a spoiler, but a prediction. He will be in the conference championship this year. The Ravens will be in the conference championship this year. Baltimore, on the offensive side of the ball, is stacked, with the exception of receivers. And on the defensive side of the ball, they have nothing but ballers. Now, hopefully, they're able to stop the run a little bit better than they were last year. But I love what they have in like the secondary. I like what they have, especially with Kyle Hamilton. I think that he is an absolute animal. I think that he's arguably the best safety in football. I am super excited to see what the Ravens do. I think Lamar is going to go back for another MVP. He should be going for a three-peat right now, but your fraud-ass quarterback stole it from him. That's enough there. I have the Ravens winning.
So while you were hating on Josh Allen, you mentioned that they couldn't stop the run last year, which is completely false. They averaged 80 yards per game against them on the ground last year. They're exceptional against the run.
No. I didn't say that they couldn't stop the run. I just said that I just wanted them to be better against the run. That's it.
Sure.
That's
80 yards per game is pretty good. But anyways, the secondary has had problems for sure.
Yes.
But they did bring in Jair Alexander. Nate Wiggins had a breakout year. Malachi Starks in the draft. Yes, the Ravens are winning the division. I have them at 13-4. I also do potentially have them in a conference championship game, perchance. We'll see what happens. But I do think, the way the roster is structured, again, you don't need much on offense if you got Lamar Jackson, the most talented player we've ever seen. And I hope you know, every time I utter his name, every time I talk about his talent, it pains me. Not because I don't want to like Lamar, but it's because I know who you are as a Lamar Jackson fan. And it honestly bothers me that I can't even get a word out with you glazing the hell out of this guy. Like, it's unbelievable. But I will admit, most talented athlete we've ever seen on the football field, the best, most talented quarterback we've seen, somebody who throws 40-plus touchdowns and rushes for 1,000 yards. It's pretty incredible. I do have a question for you, though, around the Ravens before we get into a potential wildcard team in this division, if you have. Is John Harbaugh on the hot seat, considering having Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, having a great defense year after year, and consistently bailing on the run when it matters in the playoffs? Do you think he's on the hot seat for you?
Right before I answer that question, I want to just go back to you trying to get you a gotcha moment on me saying that the run game is bad, okay? 150 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground in the game that they lost to the Bills, okay? So that's not good to me. Now, I understand that as a Bills fan, you really care about the regular season and not what happens in the playoffs, but for winning franchises, for players of Lamar Jackson's caliber, they need more than 150 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns on the ground. So if that's good for you, fine. It's not good for me and Lamar. Anyways.
But you know what? Let me just add on to that, because I'm not even going to fight the point, but the Bills' offense didn't have a whole lot going into the playoffs. And this is actually building on the John Harbaugh thing. They should have known that the strength of our offense was running the ball, whether it's Josh Allen or James Cook. And they still let James Cook trample over them for 150 yards and whatever it was, 3 touchdowns. Again, it's a weird thing happening in Baltimore when you have Lamar Jackson, who hasn't been known to be the best playoff performer, continue to lose playoff games, and a large question has been coaching. So what do you think about John Harbaugh?
I think the best thing that happened to John Harbaugh was Lamar Jackson, was drafting Lamar Jackson. I think he lengthened his time in Baltimore by probably 10 years. I would be a hypocrite to say Mike Tomlin's on the hot seat if I would not say that Harbaugh's also. Because the same way that Mike Tomlin had AB, Le'Veon Bell, and Ben Roethlisberger and didn't make a Super Bowl, it's going to be the same thing with Harbaugh. The Ravens have one of the best rosters, not even on the offensive side of the ball, but the best rosters in football.
Probably like top 3, I would say. Like behind Philly.
And it's like at worst they are 3. They have probably one of the most electric players of all time in Lamar Jackson. He dominates, not even just Lamar Jackson, but the Ravens dominate every regular season. They are one of the best teams, and it looks like in October, in November, that they are unbeatable. And then as the season starts to tie up, it's like Harbaugh just goes and throws everything that got them to the dance out the window. And then you have Lamar Jackson in playoff games throwing 50 times when they have the number 1 rushing attack. Then you have last year with Derrick Henry not even becoming a main focal point of the offense till the second half, when now they are playing from behind. That's not a Lamar Jackson thing. That's not a Derrick Henry thing. That is a coaching thing. And the guy that's at the top of that is John Harbaugh. And success is no longer just winning the division. Success is no longer winning a conference championship. At minimum, there needs to be a Super Bowl appearance within the next 2 years, because there should have been one in the last 3 years. Yeah. This team is far too talented to be coming up this short again and again and again, and it can't be because of coaching. Because if you're the general manager of the Ravens and you look that I have the MVP of the last 3 years, like 2 of the last 3 years, I have the MVP on my team. I have arguably the best running back in football. I have one of the best offenses and defenses in football. Why isn't this working? You have to look at the head coach. And if there's not legitimate success, which is reaching a Super Bowl, you have to look at other options, and that's getting rid of Harbaugh.
Yeah, and it's tough because he's been there for so long and he's had some success. But like you said, Deshaun, I completely agree. You make the playoffs. That's the first step of success, right? But after a while, you're demanding more as a franchise. When you got Lamar, you got to capitalize, especially with Derrick Henry nearing the end of his career. He's still playing at an elite level, but how many more years of elite production do you get out of Derrick Henry with the way that he plays? So it's got to happen now. And I know people are so hesitant because he's a historic coach. Same thing with Mike Tomlin, but we got to look in the mirror and face the facts. With Lamar, with Derrick Henry, has to happen, especially with this defense as well. Do you have a wild card team in this division? Because I have the Pittsburgh Steelers quickly at 9-8, slipping into the playoffs as they usually do. Same old shit. Rodgers at 42 screams mediocre to me with Mike Tomlin. Offense is all right. Like DK's a phenom, but outside of that, it's nothing special. And the defense is stout as per usual. Like I just think they'll be good.
I also have the Steelers. I think that this will be a resurgence for that offense that has been pretty dead the last 2-3 years. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if not only they make the playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised if they win a playoff game. But I think that's probably their ceiling.
Yeah, that's probably pushing it for Mike Tomlin, too. He likes that comfortable range, you know what I mean?
Just make it, and that's it.
Exactly. AFC South, Houston Texans won it last year at 10-7, Colts 8-9, Jags 4-13, Titans 3-14. Deshaun, who do you have winning the division?
So it wasn't until I looked at all of these divisions and until I realized how awful this division is.
It's bad.
This might be one of the worst divisions in football.
In history.
Yes. Yeah, because it is just completely awful. With that said, though, I have 2 teams from this division making the playoffs. I have the Jags winning the division. I believe in Goldilocks. I believe in Trevor Lawrence. I know that you are a hater and you do not believe, you have no faith, but you have faith in JJ. That'll be another day. I believe with Brian Thomas, hopefully Travis Hunter plays more offense than on defense. And I also believe that Etienne will have a bounce back year, and I'm not just saying this because I have him in fantasy.
You drafted him in fantasy.
Auto
draft.
I legitimately believe that they have so many guys on this roster that are in situations where they have to go improve it. And I think that if you put any type of animal against the wall, you are going to see the most vicious, most ferocious side of that animal. And the Jags, they have their backs against the walls, and I think that their superstars are going to start playing like superstars. I don't think Etienne's a superstar, but I think Trevor Lawrence is. And I wouldn't be surprised.
Did you draft Etienne?
Yes.
Did you auto draft Etienne?
I did not auto draft him. I picked him because I had faith. And I believe that Trevor Lawrence will finish this year as a top 10 quarterback.
Wow. See, I don't believe in Trevor Lawrence, but that's for another day. Obviously, you can go ahead with the Texans.
Now, also making the playoffs, it's definitely not the Colts, and it's definitely not the Titans.
Yeah, this is a process of elimination.
Exactly.
You had a feeling.
Exactly. It's Houston again. I'm okay on CJ Stroud. I think he's good. Like, I don't think he's great, but I think he's good. And I like what they have on offense. We'll see what Nick Chubb has left. His knee was like eviscerated last year, just completely like demolished. So maybe he has a little bit left in the tank. Who knows? Maybe it's a bounce back year for Damian Pierce. We'll see. But I like CJ Stroud and Nico Collins. Like the defense, like you had mentioned earlier, is really good. I think they have probably he's for sure a top 3 corner in the league in Stingley. You got those pass rushers in Hunter, Will Anderson. You have a really stout defense. So I think that will be enough to pick up some of the offensive slack that will inevitably be there because of how bad that offensive line is. And until they fix that, Houston will have a very limited ceiling because CJ Stroud is going to be fighting for his life.
Yeah, it shocks me that they don't protect the guy and they trade away Laramie Tunsil, who I know was a penalty monster last year, but he was best
also
protector.
Like the best offensive lineman, yes.
So I just don't get it. I have the Texans winning the division. Don't like anyone else in the division. I'm not a Trevor Lawrence fan, and the Titans with Cam Ward might eventually turn into something, but it's just not this year. And the Colts again, AR, Danny Dimes, it's a recipe for disaster. Like you said, took the words out of my mouth. Defense is great in Houston. Offensive line, trash. Probably the worst in the league. Honestly, potentially behind Burrow's offensive line. And they lose Diggs. Collins is always injured. You know what it is. They might win a game in the playoffs, but it's nothing more than that. Now the time we've been waiting for, Shawn, to wrap us up before we get into our conference championship and Super Bowl prediction, the AFC East. Buffalo Bills took it by storm last year at 13-4. Dolphins 8-9. Jets 5-12. And your New England Patriots at 4-13. Please tell me you have the Bills winning the division.
I have the Bills making the playoffs. But I have the New England Patriots winning the division. Yes. I have the Patriots winning the division. It's not even close. I think if you were just to look
pathetic.
on paper, on paper, you cannot make an argument that the Bills have a better roster, okay? Miami, New York Jets, get them out the window. They're not in this discussion at all. I don't believe in Tua. I think Tua is going to be on IR by week 7. The Jets are the Jets. I don't believe in Justin Fields. I think he is awful. And I think that even if he did have a little bit of talent, a little bit of skill, the Jets will suck everything out of him because they are the Jets. So then that leaves 2 teams, okay? And like I already said, the Bills are making the playoffs. They will make it off the strength that they do have an MVP at quarterback, okay? They will sneak in the playoffs, get bounced first round, okay? But who we came to see, okay, who we came to talk about was Drake May and them boys. Drake May and them boys, the real America's team, okay? You have Drake May, okay? You got Stephon Diggs, okay? You got Pop Douglas. You got Hunter Henry. And we got your favorite, Efton Chisholm, Okay? We have dog after dog on this team. And I didn't even mention those killers on defense. We have, and I'm going to say this out loud on this podcast because I want people to know, okay? Because I hear Stingley's name, okay? I hear Surtan's name. But we have the best cornerback in the National Football League in Gonzo, okay? I need people to understand that Christian Gonzalez is the best cornerback. He blankets your favorite receiver, okay? When they go to bed at night, when Jamar Chase goes to bed at night, he puts on a blanket, and guess what it says? Gonzo. Anywhere any receiver goes, he travels. He's there. Locked down. 24-hour lockdown. Alcatraz prison style, okay? Drake May is going to finish this year as a top 10 quarterback, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's in that top 7 to 4 range. He is primed for a breakout season. We have our OC back. We are ready to take over this division. So I hope that you have had your enjoyment making the playoffs, not doing anything with it, but Big Brother is back.
All right. I mean, I expected nothing less. Honestly, that was pretty brutal. I like the Patriots this year, but again, you make me suffer trying to listen to you talk about this team. I actually had a Patriots analyst on a week or two ago, and he was reasonable about the Pats. I really enjoyed it. We had a great discussion, and then you come on, and then you ruin my entire image of this team that I do think will make the playoffs in a wild card spot this year. I have them at 11-6. You have them at 14-3, which is unreal. The Bills are winning the division. Let's face the facts. 13-4. The Bills are an average team.
Yes.
Josh Allen makes them extraordinary. He does. And once again, we will be dragged to the playoffs on the sled that Josh Allen pulls, and we will most likely have our hearts crushed in a divisional round game or the conference championship game against the Chiefs. I don't have to go too in depth.
You will
about
have
the
your
Bills.
hearts broken this year.
Most likely.
When you look up at that sword that is stabbed right through your chest, the number on the jersey will not be 15 anymore. It'll be 10. It'll be
wild.
Drake May. It'll be
insane.
Drake May sending that knife right through all of Bill's Mafia.
I'm sending help your way. I know it pains you when you have to mention the MVP that Josh Allen has under his belt. I know it pains you. And I love
MVP.
seeing the pain.
It's
really all we got. It's really all we got right now.
Yeah, that's all you have. It's all you ever will have. And
but I do
4 Super Bowl losses in a row.
Right. And
That's
the 4 straight losses to Kansas City in the playoffs. But again, I'll recap. We don't have anything flashy. Our defense hopefully is average this year. It wasn't that good last season. But, we do pull it together in the moments, unless it's against the Chiefs. So
I legitimately want to hear your explanation, okay? Non-biased, because I've been nothing but unbiased this entire time. So I'm expecting the same of you, okay? On paper, who has a better defense? The Bills or the Patriots?
It's not close. I mean,
it's not even close.
It's the Patriots.
It's
yes,
not
of
even
course.
close.
Of course.
Okay. Thank you. Don't get so aggressive. On paper, who has a better offense, the Bills or the Patriots? And don't lie.
It's the Bills.
Oh, my goodness.
It's the Bills. The offensive line in New England is below average. It's below average. I don't know why you're giving me that look. It's below average. Buffalo's offensive line is top 5 in the league. Our quarterback, not even a comparison. Receivers,
we have better
balances
receivers.
out.
We have better
Stephon Diggs,
receivers.
if he has a better season, probably not. Probably lean Patriots, but it's very close. Backfield, I mean, whatever. We haven't seen Travion Henderson play in a regular season game.
Travion Henderson is better than anything you have in Buffalo.
Sure.
Oh, my God.
Sure. Whatever you say. You sound foolish. But anyways, besides the point, Buffalo's winning the division. Patriots making the wild card. So to recap, in the AFC, I have the Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, and Texans winning the division. Broncos, Patriots, and Steelers in the wild card. In the NFC, the Eagles, Rams, Vikings, Bucks winning the division. And Commanders, Lions, Niners in the wild card. Shawn, if you want to give a recap, go ahead, or you can just hop right into your conference championship predictions, and then we'll go Super Bowl.
So recap, you got the NFC, we got the Rams Tampa, Chicago, Philly making it. And then for the 3 wildcard spots, we got Carolina, Detroit, and the Giants. AFC, we got making the playoffs as our division winners. We got Chiefs, Jags, Baltimore, and Big Bro, the Patriots. And then the wild card, we got the Bills, Little Bro, Steelers, and Houston.
Excellent. Your championship or conference championship game predictions.
So conference championship is going to be a very hard day for me, okay? I want you to understand this. This is going to be a really hard day for me. It's going to be a day that really pulls at my heartstrings, okay? Because on one side is going to be Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. On the other side, it's going to be the New England Patriots and Drake May. And as a Patriots fan, unfortunately, Lamar, I'm going to have to side with my boys. And may the best team win. But I think from a complete unbiased standpoint...
We're losing legitimacy by the second.
From a complete unbiased standpoint, you have the 2 best offenses and 2 best defenses in the AFC. Yes, you can make an argument that the Chiefs have a better offense, maybe, but I like what we have in terms of our explosiveness on the offensive side of the ball as well as our explosiveness on defense. We don't just have guys that are going to go and stop offenses. We have guys that are going to go stop offenses and get touchdowns. We're going to have guys that are going to go and score. So I love the Patriots and I love the Ravens. You have 2 of the best teams, 2 of the heavyweights in the AFC. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you switch one of those teams out for the Chiefs. But in my opinion, it's a 3-way race between those 3 teams. And I just have the Ravens and Patriots sneaking out in front of the Chiefs.
Yeah, to make it very clear, this is only, and I mean only, your opinion and those in New England. But with that being said, I do like the Broncos as my sleeper team in the AFC. However, AFC Conference Championship will be the Ravens versus the Chiefs. I'm not betting against Kansas City until I'm proven otherwise. They can burn me one year. I don't care. I've seen it way too often to not bet on them. And I do think the Ravens will get a shot at redemption in the Conference Championship game. In the NFC, who do you have in the Conference Championship game, Shawn?
So in the NFC, I have Philadelphia and I have Chicago. I'm joking. See? Come on. Be serious.
Everybody thought it was legit. No, I didn't even think you were joking.
I have Philadelphia and the Rams.
All right.
I think the Rams are such a veteran group that I think to be able to knock off Philadelphia and all the talent they have, you're going to need more than flashy plays that Detroit offers, and you're going to need to have more than youth, which I think that will inevitably be the downfall of Chicago. I think that like the Rams are such a veteran group. They have a lot of Super Bowl experience on the coaching staff, obviously with Matt Stafford winning one. And you have Devontae Adams, who really wants to solidify his Hall of Fame career and end it with a Super Bowl win. Well, obviously, he's not going to retire, but he wants to have that on his resume. And like you said, really the only team that really threatened Philadelphia in the playoffs last year was the Rams. And I like their chances again this year, simply just because it is so hard to repeat in football, unlike other sports. It's going to be very hard for the Eagles to go and beat the Rams again if they were to meet each other in the conference championship.
Yeah, and that's what makes Kansas City's dynasty so crazy, right? Is the amount of times that they've been able to repeatedly win. In the NFC Conference Championship game, I do have the Eagles and the Rams, but I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to go Eagles and Bucks. I'm really high on the Bucks this year. I love Baker Mayfield. I think the team is great. I like the Rams a lot. They're probably my pick, but just to spice things up, just so we have a few different takes here, I'm going to go Eagles and Bucks, but the Rams are right there. who do you have going to the Super Bowl and who do you have winning the Super Bowl, Deshaun? Because I think I know which direction this is going to go, and I do have a final concluding question for you.
Okay. So, obviously, it's going to be a tough day on that day, whichever way it goes in the AFC. But this is the year that the Ravens get it done. The Ravens knock out the Patriots in a barn burner. I think it's going to be 41-34. And you have Lamar in the Super Bowl. Going against them, we are going to have... This is going to be a hard one, but I think the Rams are going to have enough to overtake Philly, and we're going to have a Ravens-Rams Super Bowl.
Who do you have winning?
And then for the Super Bowl winner, don't even ask me, Johnny, because we are going to have a lot of uncomfortable conversations after this.
Well, I'm happy you're getting to my point.
Lamar Jackson is going to finally get his Super Bowl, and then we're going to have to start shuffling some feet of guys in that top 5 all-time list at the quarterback position. So some guys like Joe Montana and Peyton Manning are going to have to start making room for big old Lamar.
Well, I'm happy you're already getting to my point. So you got the Ravens winning. I'm going Baltimore, Philly. I think Philly repeats, goes back-to-back. I just think that they're too good to be taken over. However, to wrap up the episode, we're clocking in at like an hour and 20 minutes here. It's been incredible. It's been a great ride.
It's been a blast.
We're gonna keep doing it during the season. So I appreciate everyone who's tuning in to the end. Lamar, at what point? I guess really the question is, how many Super Bowls is it going to take to definitively have him maybe like above Mahomes or on par with Mahomes?
I think for Lamar to be able to say that he's better than Mahomes, because I think in terms of talent, I think they are 1A, 1B all time. And I think that's including guys like Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. I think in terms of just pure talent on the field at the quarterback position, I think that's 1A, 1B. I think for those all-time lists, when we're not just talking about talent, we're talking about team success and longevity, the one-up that Mahomes has on Lamar right now is that he's created a dynasty. He's not just went and won one Super Bowl and then went back. He's solidified himself to the point where you have to just say that the Chiefs are going to be in the Super Bowl every year, or at least be in that conversation solely because like they have him on the roster. So for Lamar to get into that conversation, because in my opinion, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time, for him to get into that conversation, he's going to need to start winning and winning a lot. Now, I don't think there needs to be a set number, but right. I think if he can get anywhere from 3 to 4, if he can get into like that range, I think already with the regular season success that he had arguably one of the best quarterback seasons statistically last year. 41 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. I think he has all the regular season success. If he was to retire right now, he's probably a Hall of Famer. No, he's for sure like a Hall of Famer.
He absolutely.
He just needs that postseason success. And I think for one last thing, they're going to need to see each other in the playoffs. And Lamar's going to have to beat Patrick Mahomes. And obviously, I get it that quarterbacks never play against each other. But the way the sports media world likes to run it, Lamar and the Ravens are going to have to beat Mahomes and the Chiefs in a big playoff game for Lamar to get the masses respect.
Yeah. I mean, we can personally, you and me, talk about our rankings, but for the general public,
exactly,
head-to-head does matter when we are having these discussions. Unfortunately, I put no time, I invest no effort into that discussion. However, it matters. And Mahomes already has the one up on him with the playoff loss that Lamar had a few years ago to him I think it was in the conference championship that brought the Chiefs to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Again, I agree with you. Like, I think Lamar, without a doubt, has the talent to be in the conversation. But when you get into the discussion of top 10 quarterbacks of all time, top 5, top 3, top 2, top 1, there is a consistency element to their greatness. So we're sitting here talking about when is Lamar going to hit his first Super Bowl, and I agree with you. It has to be on a consistent basis, as you have no choice but to put the Ravens in your prediction for the conference championship every single year, and we just haven't seen that yet. But I do think, like, with his talent, he could win 2 or 3 Super Bowls, and with, I'm assuming he's going to win another MVP, he'll be in the discussion with somebody who might have won 4 Super Bowls or 5 Super Bowls, because the talent will separate him. But I do like your take. I do think that the Ravens will find their way to the Super Bowl, but it's going to be tough to dethrone the Eagles or beat whoever is matched up against them in the NFC. That was our divisional rankings, our wildcard teams, our conference championship, and our Super Bowl predictions. Deshaun, it was a blast. That was an hour and 30. It was a great time.
It was a good time. It flew by.
And we'll get back to it when the season starts Thursday. Hope to have you on again, bro.
Let's get it.